I made the ultimate gripper. It's a spike prime gripper using only spike prime parts. And it's going to pick up a bottle and put it down, and pick up the bottle and put it down, and pick up the bottle and put it down forever. It's pretty awesome.
So I've coded it to go forever. And the question is, how many times do you think it'll pick it up and put it down before it drops it? We'll find out later in this video. Also, we'll find out what happens when two grippers go head to head.
Okay, so our goal is to make something like this. I've accidentally turned it on. We need to build the gripper first, I think, and then we'll build the rest of the robot. So I'm just going to put that over here. In the Spike Prime expansion set, there's this little piece here, and good, because you need that piece to make what I made. I have made an alternative without that, using some other pieces, and I'll show you at the end of the video how to make that if you don't have this piece. So I'm going to start by putting an axle in the middle of this piece. Put an axle in the middle of that, and I use the smallest black cog to go in there. And then we're going to have one arm going this way and one arm going this way, so we need them to be separate. We're going to have a little tiny cog for each one of those separate arms. So I'm going to put that on there, and I'm going to hold that in place by just using the tiniest yellow axle. I'm going to push this axle right in. You can see now that that turns the top one. And then I'm going to do the same. I'm going to use a grey one on the bottom one though, slightly longer one. That'll be about 4L. Tiny cog. Now you can see that that little black cog turns one clockwise and one anti-clockwise. So if we add an arm to those, we could just make it, well, we want the arms to be close to each other. We can't put the arms on the outside, they need to go in here. And the only real thin piece in your Spike Prime set are these little unusual pieces like this. So that's what I'm going to use today. Going that way, and one arm going this way, flat, like this, quickly flat. It's about as good as you can get it. It's alright, you just need it to open a little bit. And then
I cut the film here because it took me a while to perfect the arms. This is the construction of the left arm. It's a little bit complicated, but it's got 3 pins holding 2 of those plates together and the arm. And then on the other arm, it's slightly different. It looks similar, but it's slightly different. You put one arm in for the left that is controlled by the bottom cog, and then you use the other arm to slot in for the right arm, and they kind of look like that. So it's not perfectly symmetrical, but it's impossible to get them symmetrical because you've got such a small space to play with, and the pieces are limited. There's not many flat pieces in the kit. And I didn't really show you how I added the rubber bits, so I'll just go back a step here, put a couple of yellow cross axles in those holes there. One sort of sits loosely, one slides into the cross hole, and then add a couple of bits of rubber on each arm, and that will help the robot actually grip.
same on the other side. And there. Now we're cooking with gas. I used a large motor, but I flipped it over, stuck it in there. Okay. Put 2 black pieces in there. Like that. Do the same on the opposite side. going to put one across the front here. But we need to put a couple of pink beams here first. Pink beams with the 5 holes in them. Just put four pins in there. Pretty fiddly, but I'll get there eventually. Let's put another bush down the bottom here, just to hold things in place. Okay, and maybe a bush on top, a yellow one would be good. A yellow bush on top, just to hold it all in place. Is I'm going to stick another plate across here, another frame. I'm going to put this black plate on here like this. It's just going to sit on there like that. Then we're going to use some black pins in there, like this, and then I'm going to stick another biscuit on top of that, and then we can put a biscuit on the inside if we little black bits, and then a black piece in the very middle, and this can go on top of there, and this will hold it all in place, nice and solid. Okay, that's pretty good, nice and solid. Okay, now we're going to attach the hub, the blue beam across the bottom there. So we're going to put a little pin in there, there, put the blue beam across there. Gonna sit flush to that one. So just a couple of black pins in here. And a couple of black pins in here. And this should hold the hub on. The wheel, the motor part there is going to rub against the hub just slightly, but not enough to affect it. The top pins go on the top of the hub, and the bottom pins go near the bottom. So just like that. Pretty cool. Stick some of those on the sides like this. Maybe like that. Okay. And then okay, pretty simple. We're going to give them a bit more support though. I'm thinking I might put one of these in here, so get one of these L shapes. So maybe put that on first, and then you can put it in the holes. So it's just going to give it a bit more strength. Do the same on this side. Maybe take it off and then put that in there, in the end, and then stick that in there. Right. Then I did something cool with a couple of biscuits. Just right in the middle here, can you see? It's a bit hard to see, but right inside there, I'm going to put a biscuit right inside there. So it just ended up here. I'm going to put another biscuit right inside there. Just because I've got that tiny little prong sticking out there, and I want to do something with it. So I'm going to put the biscuit in there. Cool. Nice. Really solid. Really good. And there's lots of ways you can add your wheels. Lately I've been putting 2 pins and an axle in. Kind of helps hold the wheels in place. So little yellow axles like this in the middle. And stick the wheel on top. And then hold it with a brush. I mean a bush. Bush. And then do the same on the other side. And then we'll put that on there. And put a bush on top. There we go. It's looking pretty good. Now the only thing we really need is the distance sensor at the front. Pop it about here with the beam. So let's put 2 black pins in here. Use a lot of black pins, don't I? And 2 on the side of the sensor, because the sensor is about the same width as everything else. Pop it about there. There's 1 hole above it and 3 below, and the 3 below is going to be used for the sensor. Nice. Do the same on the other side. Just whack 4 pins in. 1, 2, the black beam. Nice. Pretty good. Really solid. Alright. When I'm coating it, I'm plugging my motors that move the robot into C&D. So I might just wrap them through here to get them out of the way a bit. Oh, that's nice cable management. On the other side, let's see if we can go nice and neat. We'll go through this way. Yep, look at that. That's beautiful. This could be the best cable management I've ever done. Look at that. It's a work of art. C and D are for the motors. And then I'll put the distance sensor into B. The motor that controls the gripper can go into A. I think we'll do that. Just trying to make it nice and tidy so they don't get tangled in the wheels. Yeah, it's pretty good. I don't like to use these clips. I hate those clips. They destroy motors, so I don't use them. Get rid of them. Looking good. So it's nice and low, the distance sensor, so it will see things easily. If it was up any higher, the arms might get in the way. If it was up here, it might be too high. If it's really low to the ground, it'll work well. So I reckon that's about it. So let's code it. I recommend that you always connect your robot when you code, because if you turn it on and connect it, then on the app, all the ports will already be correct in the coding. So when we want it to start, we want the arms to always be in this position. Now when we've connected on our screen, that up the top here, the current position of motor A is 134 degrees. So if we want it to always start in that position, you can say go to the shortest path to start to 134 degrees. And then it will always start in that exact position whenever you start the program. So that's pretty cool, because it might close and then turn off and then you don't know where you're supposed to start. So if you leave it on that and the gears don't grind at all and it stays in that position, then it should be fine. We're going to set the movement motors because we want the robot to travel, and because we've plugged in the motors already and we turned it on and connected, it already thinks that they're plugged into C and D, which is cool. Then we're going to go pretty slow. If you go too fast, things don't work. So I'm going to go 20% speed there. I recommend a speed less than 50 there. And then we're going to start moving. We're going to wait until something happens. We're going to wait until the robot sees the bottle. So when the robot sees the bottle, we're going to grip it. Okay. We're actually going to go, when it sees it, we're going to go forward a little bit further and then grip it. So when it does see the other robot, we need to say wait until it sees the other robot. And then in here, in the sensors tab, we're going to say when the robot is closer than 5 centimeters. So make it centimetres, not percent, or you can make it inches if you want to, but I'm going to say when it's pretty close, like this far, it's going to go forward a little bit further and then close the arms. So let's go forward 3 centimetres and change that to centimetres, and then we're going to say stop moving. It's going to go, when it sees the other robot, when it sees the bottle, it's going to go forward just a little bit further and then stop moving. And then we're going to get the arm on the robot to turn for half a rotation. So we're going to get the motor that's plugged into A. We're going to get it to turn for half a rotation. And that basically makes that little cog turn half a rotation. Okay, and then I want it to stay in position. I don't want it just to turn and just flop around. So I want it to actually stay there. So we want it to stay there. So let's grab the shortest path to the gripping position. Now, let's just see if we can get this thing to go into a good gripping position. Now this is in position. We're just going to test it to see how it goes. The starting position is 134 degrees, so that's out. But we don't know what the position is going to be when it's in, and I don't really want to turn it manually because it might grind or whatever. So we're going to test it to see what happens when I press play. Nice. So it's about 78 degrees when it's at that position. So we're going to put the shortest path down here to 78, and we're going to hold it there. Hopefully it'll stay there. And then it's going to move forwards for 1 rotation. And then it's going to turn right. We'll make it turn right for 1 rotation. We're going to do a right turn of 100, because if you do a right turn of 100, that means the robot will turn on the spot. 1 wheel will go forwards, 1 will go backwards. So we'll do 1 rotation for a turn, and then we'll go forward again for another rotation. We could just duplicate this and get rid of that one. That works. And then we want it to go back to its original position to drop the bottle. So we're going to go shortest path to 134 again, and that will put the arms in the unlocked position of opened. So we put that to 134 degrees, then it'll open up nicely, and then we could just go forwards again for another rotation. Oh, no, we'll leave it like that. That's pretty cool. I like to use this block at the end that says stop all, and you can say stop and exit program there. And that'll make it completely stop the program, basically. I think I might just get it to move backwards at the end, so I might just duplicate this one. And we'll get it to move backwards for 1 rotation at the end. I think this one goes backwards as well. Let's try that. So this is what I actually ended up with. I went forwards at the start, then backwards, backwards, backwards. That's the final code to make it just pick the bottle up once. But at the start of this video, I said we're going to make it go forever. So we're going to add the loop that says forever, and it should pick up the bottle and put it down over and over and over again. The question I have for you is, how many times do you think it'll do it before it drops it? Have a guess now. Have a guess. How many times will it pick the bottle up and put it back down before dropping it? Let's watch it now. Picked it up once. Drags it. Drops it. We're going to speed it up in a sec to make it easier to count. That's 1.
That's 2. Every time it lets go, we'll count. That's 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. 11. 12. 13. 14. 15. 16. 17. 18. 19. 20. 21. 22. 23. 24. 25. 26. 27. 28. 29. 30. 31. 32. 33. 34. 34. I dropped it on 35. It did 34 times. Did you guess 34? I didn't, that's for sure. So if you don't have this part that's in the Spike Prime expansion pack, you might want to build something like this. I think I've given you enough details right here to design it. Start by making 2 small axles with a tiny cog and bushes on them like this. They're length 5 holes long, and then you need those rubber pieces as well. But basically, here's a photo of all the parts that you need, and you just got to slot it all together like I've done here, and you can make something similar. It's not quite as good as the original one with the expansion black part, but after you built it, you got to attach it to your robot somehow, and it should do the job.
Let's try and see if they will attack each other. Are you ready? Set. Go! Oh dear. Things that nerds like, eh? Look at this go. It's not doing anything. Oh. And one of them's on a loop and it's going to keep attacking.
If you think the gripper was cool, check out this video. It's one of my favorites.